The business started in their basement in Webster City just as a way to make extra income. You know, the goal was to try to make like $300 a week. And from there, they moved into a brick and mortar. Then my mom joined the business in what, 98?
96? Yeah, 98.
Yeah.
Right around there.
And she spent one winter driving from Ankeny to Webster City, and she was like, we're moving.
What's going on, guys? My name is Ryan Snaadt. It rhymes with odd, and you're listening and watching the Rhymes with Odd podcast. Today, we're jumping in the booth with another amazing pair of guests today. We've got the owners of P&M Apparel. We've got Ryan and Megan.
Yep.
Welcome to the show, guys.
Hi,
Thanks for having us.
We were just having some fun asides here, which I think will be a trend throughout the rest of this conversation. So I'm excited to have you guys. So Ryan and Megan are the co-owners of P&M, which is a screen printing, clothing, apparel company based in Polk City, Iowa.
Yep.
My hometown where I live as well. So I was just at the chamber event and ran into Ryan, and my name is Ryan, and I was next to Ryan at Table Ryan.
And you did the like Spider-Man thing where it's you.
We missed a third. We need like a third Ryan to be pointing.
We think we're going to do our own Chamber of Commerce called the Ryan Chamber of Commerce.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
I think it'll take off.
Only people named Ryan can join.
Yeah.
What about Brian's?
No.
Spelling of a weird girl Ryan.
No. Girl Ryan's, yes.
Yeah.
Sure, we can't discriminate.
We're not going to discriminate.
But no, I think it's an interesting world. There was a Ryan meetup in California.
No way.
I saw that.
My friend sent it to me. He's like, you should go to San Diego. I'm like, San Diego? I don't think so. They can't handle this. Like, there's too many Ryans. I've also seen a Jason Kelsey lookalike meetup in Philadelphia, which was surprising how many people look like him. So,
that's awesome.
They're everywhere. It's kind of fun. But no, I think it'll be fun conversation. So you guys are like a third generation family business. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about kind of the come up story for you guys and just the journey together, like owning this business. I think it's kind of a really fun story. So we'll start with Ryan. Since you're about to take a drink, I'll give you.
Thank you.
We'll give you guys a chance to kind of talk about the origin story. But if you can tell me, like, who you guys are, what you do, like the elevator speech, or if you're in a chatty Uber driver and they ask you questions.
What's your favorite restaurant? That's what
we do at Ubers. So we run P&M Apparel, and what we do is we tell your story through screen printing, embroidery, promotional products, basically anything with a logo. We really like helping small businesses thrive as a small business, and this is our 38th year in business.
Whoa, it is our 38th year. Yeah.
We both really love what we do. I enjoy going to work most days. Not every day, but yeah.
You don't have a bad case on the Mondays?
Not today. No, it's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
Well, then you can just screen print a Garfield shirt and wear that every Monday.
That's true.
Then it can be cool. You can make it on brand.
Right.
So. Yeah. So I think it'd be kind of fun to talk about your guys' separate journeys that brought you to the business. And then we'll talk about it collectively, but we'll shift to Megan now.
Yeah.
If you want to tell me, like,
I was first.
The origin of the business. We talked about being third generation, kind of like, where did it start? Because was it around during World War II? Or was it the 50s?
No. So
38 years, not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started realizing like the World War, now it's gonna be like 100 years ago in like a couple of years. I'm like, oh God, like the last generation's dying off of people that were alive during that time. So
P&M is our grandparents, Phyllis and Melvin. Melvin actually was a World War II veteran. So there's your tie there. And the business started in their basement in Webster City just as a way to make extra income. You know, the goal was to try to make like $300 a week. And from there, they moved into a brick and mortar. Then my mom joined the business in what, 98?
96? 98.
Yeah.
Right around there.
And she spent one winter driving from Ankeny to Webster City, and she was like, we're moving. And so then they moved the business to Polk City. It's been there ever since. In 2020, we started building our new building that we have now, which is the perfect time to start breaking ground on a new building.
You guys are all in like the ribbon cutting with your masks on,
right?
Like, exactly. Spraying like
everybody be 6
Lysol
feet away. Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got married in 2020, so
you
I
get
understand.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I tried to get married in 2020. The government
You
said we
get
couldn't
it.
get together. So,
But yeah, I joined the business in 2012. Was it 2012?
I wasn't.
Yeah, it was 2012. After having worked at several marketing firms and design houses, joined because I needed a job. They needed a graphic designer. I thought it was just going to be kind of a temporary thing. And then I started to because I think I always thought that this business was kind of like podunk a little bit, where it was just like, oh my, it's not like legit graphic design because it's just making t-shirts. But then I started to work here, and it was like, oh, actually these t-shirts represent, like a family standing behind somebody with cancer, or it represents like fundraising for an organization that you really care about, or it represents a company that you built from the ground up. It's like, it's not actually just a t-shirt. This is actually like somebody representing their brand, what the message that they want to say and what they're trying to put out into the world. And so it just became really important for me. And then I got pregnant.
And that's where I come in.
That's where Ryan comes in.
So yeah, I was doing childcare before working at P&M, and here and there I would work at P&M just to make some extra money. And I finished up the job with childcare, didn't want to continue with that role, and so was looking for a job. And just like Megan, P&M needed help because she was going on maternity leave. I needed a job. And so while I was looking for a job, I started working, and that was 10 years ago, and still looking for a job. So
sure. It's tough out there.
It's hard. But
Have you heard of Indeed? I don't know if you maybe you don't know the tools available.
I just keep asking people like, hey, anybody need a job? I'm here. But no, like Megan said, it became more than just like shirts. And like, for me, it was the freedom of not doing the same thing every single day over and over. My days look very similar, but at the end of the day, like, you never know who's going to walk through the door, what story needs to be told that day. Yeah.
That's great. So as you guys were coming, you mentioned is your formal education in graphic design?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So that was something, when you were first getting into that, did you ever think you'd work for the family business, or was this like just an interest for you?
Yeah, I actually was pretty against it. In my brain, like, I graduated from college and I was ready to, move to New York and climb all of the corporate ladders and stuff. And it turns out working with corporate ladders actually sucks.
Sure.
And so, yeah, I really started to hate that you would submit things that were like art that was really, really cool. And then you had like a panel of 30 people just kind of tearing it apart and dumbing it down and making it just a fraction of what it was. And I worked in university. I worked in a bunch of different markets that all needed graphic designers, and it just still felt very like bureaucratic type,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, then when I started working at P&M, it was like nobody else knew how to do what I did, and my mom trusted that I could create good stuff, and the clients responded appropriately of like now they want the stuff that I'm actually making instead of having to, go through 20 people that kind of tear it apart. So it really gave a lot more, a lot more worth to what I was doing, a lot more of what I really hoped to be doing when I got out of college. And it just feels a lot more artistic, a lot more fulfilling, rewarding. Yeah.
And part of that, I think, is we get to see the end. Yeah. The final product, where it's like corporate, I don't think you get to like see the impact that you're making. I mean, we see the people come and pick up the shirts every day, and it's like, oh, wow, this is amazing. We had a woman in, 2 days ago that, like, she was in the shop for like 30 minutes just telling us how awesome we were. And I was like, we are, but you don't need to go that hard. But.
And then you're slowly just like, can you say that again?
Right. Exactly. Yeah, it's like when I was working for magazines and stuff like that, or doing, ads and everything, I would literally see them on the ground being walked on. And it's like, oh, that makes me feel good. Yeah. And instead now it's like, oh, I'm making people's like favorite clothes that really represent who they are as people.
Yeah. And same story for me. I didn't want to work in the family business, and I think our mom did a really good job of like not pushing us into the family business. She's like, hey, it's here if you want to work here.
And even when we started working, she's like, don't feel like you have to work here forever. I don't want you to feel trapped.
Yeah.
That's such an interesting piece, because I talk to so many people, specifically like ag, like if you're in family farm, like the expectation is like, we had you solely so we could hand this land down.
Yeah.
And you're like, geez, but I just want to, like you said, I want to go to New York and do something. Like, I don't care what you want. You're going to sit here and do that. But it's cool and refreshing to hear that, because then if you come, you're not feeling trapped. Like, you're choosing every day to like, we're doing this because we find some fulfillment from this. There's some bigger thing that I'm doing that I'm making a bigger impact. So,
and I think that came from her. She felt trapped in the job because she was a single mom with 3 kids, and it's like, this is a steady payment or steady income. So that was what she had to do. Whereas we are very invested in the industry, educating other screen printers and just doing what we can to
getting on podcasts all the time.
That's our favorite part.
I love it. No, you have to do the
right
ASMR. Yeah, no, I love it. So no, I think it's an interesting piece though, because did you guys, when you were young, did you guys help mom out in the shop too?
All the time.
All the time?
Yeah,
okay.
for sure.
What were some of the jobs that you guys were tasked with, and how young were you when you were doing that?
Younger than we probably should have been.
I mean, I was 8 when she started, and I remember helping hoop hats with my grandpa for the embroidery machines when I was like 8 or 9.
And we've done a lot of reclaiming, which is like cleaning the screens to get them ready for the next design. A ton of screen printing. Yeah,
counting shirts.
It's like when people ask like how many years of experience do you have? I'm like, I don't know, since I was 3 years old, I guess. Obviously, there's growing through all. It's not like we were there the whole time, but yeah, I remember being a kid sitting there just flipping through embroidery designs, being like, "Can you put this on a shirt?" And now my kids do that all the time.
Yeah.
So it's been really cool to see that growth, and then also be able to be like, I've literally been doing this since I could walk, basically.
Yeah.
I can see you standing on a chair with a cigarette, just sitting there like,
right?
Yeah, here's your change. Like, you're just like, I've been here, like as a small child. Like, that's great. Because I think it's an interesting thing, because were you guys always on the Square location that whole time? Was that your main, where in town were you guys located?
So we started in Webster City in our grandparents' basement. From there, they moved to, there was like almost like a square in Webster City. And they were right on that. And then we moved in 98 down to the square.
Yeah.
On the square.
Polk City.
Yep.
And then we were there until
we moved
2020,
to this building.
2021.
Yeah.
That's really cool. At what point, when you joined, because you were the first one to join, how many employees did you have then versus now?
I was, let's see, we had 1, 2, 4. So we had 1 screen printer, 1 salesperson, my mom who kind of did everything else, and then I was the designer. And now we have 16.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What's been the biggest change for you guys going from there to that? Like, I'm sure a lot of things have to change when you quadruple the amount of people that are working and trying to get everything organized. What's been like the biggest change that you guys have had to do internally to manage all those people?
Processes. Before, I mean, when I started, we were working off triplicate forms, so everything was on paper. And then this has been like, what, 4 years?
Yeah.
3 or 4 years now that we have now gone digital with all of that. So we don't lose as much paperwork as we used to. But as far as managing, we have a really good team right now that responds really well to our management styles. So I guess managing that many people, it's just kind of felt like a natural progression, especially for me, because I started as a grunt and kind of worked my way up to where I am now.
You basically built the ladder from the ground up. There was no ladder, and now we've got a team of managers, and then they each have their own team for production. And then it all works up from there.
Do you guys follow any of the, like, did you have to get really educated on certain parts of business ownership, like operational stuff, or read a bunch of books, or go to like seminars? Like, how did you guys kind of trial by fire to become business owners compared to your respective skill sets if you already had before you came in?
I think a lot of that actually was Ryan really wanting to push getting more into the industry. it was probably only 4 or 5 years ago that about the time that he's like, we need to be looking into better technology. We were still operating basically the same way that they were 20 years ago. And Ryan was like, okay, but we need to see what other technology is out there. We need to see what other education is out there. And that actually took a lot of kind of pressuring our mom, because she was like, you're just traveling because you want to do a vacation or something. It's like, no, we need to like talk to other shops. We need to learn what other people are doing and grow, because our business was already growing. It started from this tiny thing and became this multi-million-dollar thing. And so we can't be the same business that we were. We can't function the same way where we were 20 years ago. And now we're at the point where we're like, we can't function the same way we functioned even 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. So we have to constantly be evolving and changing. So I think Ryan really led the charge with that. I also would say probably just like personal stuff really had to come into play too. Like I have a lot of background in like foster care. And so bringing in a lot of learning about, how to communicate with people with trauma or something like that. Like, I feel like that's a huge part of my job, is just learning how to communicate with people with, ADHD, or communicate with people who are just like going through a big thing and being able to respond and work through that effectively to help the team as a whole function. Yeah.
And I think with that, we have very complementary skills to where if it was just one of us running the business, it wouldn't be as successful. Like Megan said, she's really good at confrontation and, calming people down, working through things, whereas I'm really good at processes and finding new ways to do things faster, better, cleaner.
And also putting on weird hats that turn you into a different side character.
Yeah.
That's too. Like Craig.
Like my HR character, Sean?
Yeah. And just keeping the fun culture around.
Culture. Yeah, that's a big part of my job too.
Making sure there's pizzas when we need pizza.
You're like, you guys are doing so great. Here's a pizza party again. Like, this is the third pizza party this week. Like, I really wanted some pizza.
On record, that's not what we do.
That's not how we take care of our employees. But
that's awesome. Okay, so I guess a question I had too is, you guys amused other careers. Mm-hmm. What was the biggest thing that you got from joining the company, and the biggest thing you had to like give up when you came to the company? And Ryan, we'll start with you on this one, since you don't know what to say by your face.
Especially because you're what you went to school for wasn't anything close to.
What I went to school for wasn't anything. So I went to school for electronic media production. I wanted to be a music producer. Timbaland,
Right.
Stopped doing that. Went to school for social work because I wanted to cure the world. And now I make shirts.
And instead of curing the world, he made shirts.
Curing the world, one shirt at a time.
Making sure everyone's not naked.
Did you get your master's in social work or just undergrad?
So between the two of us, we actually have 2 degrees.
I have both of them.
And she has both.
That's a funny one. I got a little... There you go.
I didn't know we had sound bites.
Right. I wasn't even going to tell you guys about them, because then that's all we would do is play with the sound bar. So.
The biggest thing I got when joining was that freedom, the creativity of it all, and then not doing the same thing every day. Biggest thing I had to give up, I don't know, not working with my family.
Yeah, that part sucks.
No. I don't know. I don't know if I had to really give anything up when I joined.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Megan, what about you?
I think I had to give up the idea of what I expected the dream to look like. The idea of being this big hotshot designer person, whatever. And it's not, I didn't like give it up in a way that it's like, oh, I don't design, or like I went down a step or anything, because I don't feel like that. I just feel like, the ideas that I had built in my head, basically, of like, this is what my career should look like. What I got from it was way more than I gave up, I would say. I love the people that we work with. I love the environment and the culture. I love coming to work. I love being able to, leave if my kids have a doctor's appointment or something like that. I love being able to I usually bring my kids to work after school every day. There's just so much more that I gained that I couldn't have done if I was just working, at some big hotshot magazine or something like that.
Maybe the treasure was the friends we made along the way.
It is. Plus, the magazine industry is not
it's not thriving.
Great.
It's thriving right now.
It's thriving.
If you open a magazine, it's 75% ads.
Yeah.
Right.
I just wanted to learn about Lindsay Lohan and her drug addiction. I was just trying to find the damn page.
I just wanted to take a quiz to find out what kind of spoon I am.
Right. No, I think that's a really cool kind of angle to look at it. I know you guys have mentioned the new headquarters. What kind of
that?
Yeah, can we
call it headquarters?
Call it headquarters.
The new PM HQ.
Right.
I like that.
Paw Patrol comes out on the floor and screens descend from the ceiling.
Tell me
got problems downtown, kids. We got the dogs in here. But for the new building, what was kind of the driving force that got you guys to be we need to have our own place and design our own place?
Are we allowed to say this on microphone? We lost a really big client, and we're kind of disillusioned with where we were as a company, physically, and
feeling like we were owed loyalty or something like that, which wasn't true, but we were just we were disgruntled and frustrated, and we're okay,
we'll show them, we'll leave.
We'll leave and we'll go move to Grimes or Waukee or something like that.
Oh, you guys were looking to leave Polk City altogether.
We were leaving, to leave Polk City, find a bigger kind of marketplace, and then ended up being actually this...
We got 2 blocks away.
This piece of land that's been sitting here for 10 years, just completely empty. It's actually, this is the best solution.
Perfect. And it has boosted our business just being in our location.
Yeah.
So we're right on Bridge Road where 141 takes, or not 141.
Yeah.
That's a highway.
Yeah.
Just to go along the Mile Long Bridge, and something like 30,000 cars pass by every day. And it was just the perfect spot. And then we kind of got a little bit humbled. Humbled.
How did you? I'm not humble at all. So how did you?
I'm the most humble, actually.
Are you? You could win a prize for most humble.
And just kind of reframed how we looked at business and, who we wanted to work with. And P&M headquarters has allowed us some really cool opportunities. And one of the really cool things about it is it's not like most screen printing shops. Excuse me. Most production shops are in a business park or something like that, where it's semi trucks going in day out.
Yeah.
And it's not very approachable. Whereas our building, you've seen it, is very approachable. I mean, we have people just walk in that are I didn't know what this was. Cool.
I thought this was a cult.
Yeah. Well, where's the men's section? P&M headquarters has been really, really, really good for us.
When you say humble, you kind of mean the loyalty for loyalty's sake is not a thing anymore.
Correct.
You need to constantly be earning it, constantly be showing up, doing the best work possible. And that's where the loyalty comes from. Not just you've been working with us for 20 years, so you'd have to. Yeah.
Because you feel like that was that. I mean, it seems like that's a big turning point for you guys in the business. Was you lost this huge account, and then you're oh crap, now what do we do? Was it war? And most times people wouldn't think of expansion in that time. It's oh crap, now we got to are we going to lay people off, or we got to go sell even more?
Yeah, it wasn't it was lost in that now financially we're hurting, because we were fine on that front. It was more just we felt like it was owed to us because it's a local situation and you're supposed to be supporting local. And we just kind of expanded what local meant to us, basically. If we're reaching out to businesses and communities in neighboring towns, that's still very much local, and we're still going to serve you like a local small business, instead of thinking this town specifically has to support us.
Sure. And I know my financial coach, Travis Shilton, he's in Ankeny, and he always talks about this on his podcast about not supporting local for local's sake, but like supporting companies or organizations that like provide a better service, a better product. You know, he talks about this a lot, and it kind of rubbed a lot of people the wrong way of like supporting local should just be the way it is. But I'm like, yeah, but if there's like a restaurant that's the only restaurant in town and it's terrible food, terrible service, but God dang it, they're the local ones. We got to go here. It's like, no, you need to support the local as long as they provide the good service. You know, it's like in your case, if someone's looking at doing, you know, custom shirts for their T-ball team or something, it's like they could go to Custom Ink or they could go to a larger retailer or they could go to you. But it's like knowing what you can hang your hat on that makes you different. Yeah. Makes people want to support you. And, oh, by the way, it happens to be locally owned, you know? So I think that's a big piece that a lot of people, it's kind of shifting away, I think. But I mean, I always say like, people dog on Amazon and all these other ones, but it's like, it's cheap, super convenient, free shipping, and they send to your house in 2 days or less. Like how could you not want those things, you know? But then it's like, it just challenges the other players in the market of like, what can we do that can help us stand out? Maybe we can't get free shipping because we're not a multi-billion-dollar company. But
I mean, you bring up Amazon. Megan has constantly told people in our business, you know, Amazon can do this in 2 days. We need to up our game so that we can compete. Maybe not on that speed timeline, but like you're saying, the quality, the customer service.
That's what your customers are expecting, especially like post-COVID where everything was DoorDash or Amazon or whatever served to me directly. It's like that people may not even realize they came out of that and were like, this is now the new expectation for customer service. And so, yeah, we might not be able to hit it on the mark, but we're seeing a lot in our industry that like more print on demand is becoming a thing and people are expecting shorter turnaround times, you know, competitive pricing, stuff like that. And if you don't meet that, if you don't step up to that challenge, then you're obsolete. Yeah.
Sure. No, it makes a lot of sense. And I think there's a lot of things that move this industry a lot too. And I think if you can look at, like you said, what the big boys are doing and like bigger outfits or more international screen printer shops, it's like, how can we provide a similar experience, but for that local touch? Because like you said, if a shirt's messed up, you're not on customer service with another place across the world. It's like they could just come in and talk to somebody and get it solved right away. So I think that's another like superpower is just like having that local touch, you know, and people can see like literally where it's made and all that stuff. So
I would say though local, it's like a double-edged sword kind of, because like you said, if we mess up a shirt, they come in and they talk to us or whatever. A lot of times they don't come in and talk to us. They just go, well, they're dead to us. Right. Whereas McDonald's messes up your order, you're still going back to McDonald's.
Yeah. Isn't that so screwed up how that is? Like, people give corporate a second shot all the time, or they're like, I just,
I had the worst food poisoning from that Chili's. Do you want to go this week?
Right. I would say we actually probably have to meet a higher bar even than a big national company, you know, something like Custom Ink. It's like they can say no to your business and they're still making tons of money. They don't actually care about your 12 shirts or something like that. Versus the person that comes to us, they want us to deeply care about their 12 shirts because they deeply care. And so there's a lot more investment there of our time. We do a lot of things, especially lately. It's been like financial things where, you know, they want us to send certain reports or do certain things for taxes that like Custom Ink would be like, no, we're not doing that. But that's just like part of the service thing that we can provide as a local company that a big company would not even try.
Sure.
You know?
Sure. Well, I know we did our Snaadt Media Group apparel through you guys a couple years ago, so I've experienced it as a customer as well. So talk a little bit about your guys' business model, because I think it's unique how, you know, you guys do the kickbacks for, I think you mentioned fundraising, if people are doing that, if they're using the clothing as a fundraising service or just for the business. Like, talk me through the business model and how it works.
So we do like bulk orders like everybody does. You come in and work with one of our account managers. They walk you through the entire process. They're very knowledgeable about the blanket apparel. And then, we do all the production right there in Polk City, embroidery, screen printing right there. But kind of what you're talking about with the fundraising is we do a lot through our online stores. So last year, a third of our business was run through our online stores. So we
37.9% to be exact.
Right, so over 1/3.
There you go.
But it's a really unique opportunity where clubs, teams, show choirs, bands, I don't know, we even like corporate.
Yeah, we do like corporate.
We just have a catalog for them on our online store where they can go and they shop and they basically set their own prices. We say, all right, well, this shirt is going to cost you $16. And they go, all right, well, put it on the site for $20. That way I make $4 every time a shirt is sold. And then from there, we usually run those for like 2 to 3 weeks, shut them down and then run them through production and then
cut you a check.
Yeah.
So we handle all of the compiling, all of the getting it to the customers. And then
all the financials.
Yep.
You don't have to like mess with paper order forms and
right.
Yeah. It just makes it super easy for people to go on their phones and be like, oh, I'm going to buy this.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I know for us, like obviously we're a production company in Des Moines, but we have a lot, I'm from Southeast Iowa, so I had a lot of like friends, family, whatever that wanted to support the business that aren't going to hire us to film a video or make a podcast for them or do whatever. So they're like, yeah, I'll buy a shirt or whatever.
Right.
And then it's kind of a walking billboard everywhere. It's like, why are these people wearing these Snaadt media groups? Like, yeah, it's like, yeah, I know. So that's kind of it's a fun angle, I think, which is cool.
And what we found last year, we were at a trade show and they were talking about e-commerce and online sales and stuff like that. And everybody on the panel was like, yeah, we don't do that.
Which is wild to me because you've got this world of like people who are used to, like we just said, are used to post 2020 ordering everything online. Yeah. Even their groceries and their Target orders and stuff, they're ordering it and then they just go sit in a parking spot and have somebody fill up their trunk.
Yeah.
So to say like we don't have any kind of e-commerce presence, like I don't know that
wild
we would.
And they're on a panel about it's supposed to be like an industry leader,
right?
And you're like, what's the internet? Like it's 2020. What the hell are you talking about?
Exactly.
That's crazy. Because I think just the convenience too of like if someone's in that kind of like top of funnel and they just want to poke around and see like what kind of options you have for shirts or like, oh, I want to like start like roughly designing what I want to do or seeing what, it's like if you have nothing they can look at on it's like, I don't know about this. Like you kind of lose people in that early.
I don't know how you're even getting customers if you don't have some kind of e-commerce presence.
And it doubles as marketing for us too. Because like, let's say you're on there and buying something for your kid's t-ball team. Well, you might also own a trucking company and you're like, oh, well, I can use them. So
yeah,
it's like, what are you guys doing? Like you need to be doing this.
Mm-hmm. Sure. What was the types of businesses you guys used to work with before you moved into the new space? You mentioned you kind of changed the approach, the things you were doing. Was it always like local, like you said, teams, fundraisers, sports, the companies, or did you guys kind of shift into a different area or niche that kind of helped expand the business?
I mean, most of our business is local, Des Moines local area, I would say. But I mean, when we moved, I think it was more of like a paradigm shift for us of we are not owed anything and we need to earn everything. So it wasn't like a changing of who we were serving. It was just the change of how we were serving, I think.
And our own mentality.
Yeah. But yeah, since we've moved into that new building, last year we shipped to every state in the United States.
And a lot of countries outside of the United States.
30 plus countries.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm taking a note because you said a really cool thing. I'm going to make sure we put that in a social clip for you. Last question before the lightning round.
Lightning round.
Press the lightning round button.
No, that's just the goop.
Oh,
you got to workshop that a little bit.
Jazzy.
I need it to sound like
on the ones and tens.
Lightning round. Last question. What's the hardest aspect, respectively, for you guys of co-owning a business? What's the hardest thing?
Of co-owning.
Working with your brother. No. Are you going to say working with your sister?
Maybe he's going to say something sweet and then you're going to like ruin it.
I was going to say he's so nice. Hardest part about co-owning, I think, is work-life balance.
Yeah.
We
don't start doing owner stuff until about 7:00 at night and just texting and calling each other.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big one.
But a lot of people are like, oh, I could never work with my sibling. And that's not been the case for us.
No, I usually go, I couldn't either. I've got 5 brothers and this is the only one that I would probably work with.
Well, I mean, like I said previously, a lot of our skills are complementary where where if I'm lacking in one area, Megan definitely picks up, or vice versa. So
I think too, we have always been, even as kids, we kind of had like weird secret language kind of, like we would be having a conversation in a room and the people in the room would be like, I don't even know what they're talking about right now. And so we've always kind of been bonded in that way and been able to communicate and shoot straight with each other without like offending or anything like that. And that has helped a lot. But I know, like, I'm talking to other shops that have co-owners and they don't have that much of a relationship built behind before they start entering into things. And so there's a lot more work that has to go into the communication. There's a lot more work that has to go into like a whole different life, bringing two different life and experiences together versus our experiences were pretty similar throughout our whole lives because we lived together.
And with that, like trust is a huge thing. Mm-hmm. If you're going to co-own something with somebody, there has to be a lot of trust. If it's somebody that you just met 3 years ago, there's only 3 years worth of trust.
Right.
Whereas, like you were saying, we have this entire background of living in the same house for 18 years and, growing up together and experiencing the same things and sharing a very similar worldview. Whereas with other co-owners, you don't get that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the biggest riff and the thing that can really just tear a company apart is when two people have very, like you said, different worldviews, or like, I want to go this way with the company and I want to go this way. And it's like, oh crap. If you have like that unified vision, that helps too. Yeah. So that's awesome. You mentioned you're 2 of 5.
Yes.
2 of 9.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't count stepsisters.
We're yours, mine, and ours family.
Blended family. Yep.
So we're the original trilogy.
Lord of the Rings, Back to the Future. Okay.
Like Star Wars, there's 3 trilogies. Okay. The original trilogy is me and then a brother between us.
Yeah.
So that's the original trilogy. And then on my dad's side, this would be the prequel trilogy, if you will. Okay.
So we're talking like Phantom Menace is with the first first
Well,
part.
it's not a prequel because they came after us. Come on, get your... But who's the bigger nerd here?
But
are we talking about chronological release dates?
We acquired them as brothers before we acquired the other ones.
Okay, I'm following.
So the prequel, we have 3 brothers that are younger than us.
So this would be Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and...
They're half-brothers, yeah.
Okay. 3 half-brothers. And then our mom got remarried. And then
30 days before I did. Not that I'm bitter about it.
Did you guys like have a joint wedding? That could have been kind of fun.
No. Here's the thing. She got married, my brother got married, and my mom got married the same summer.
I was engaged for over a year, and then those two just were like, we got engaged 2 months ago. We decided we're just gonna parenthesis your marriage, and so my mom got married at the beginning of August, or no, at the beginning of July.
Beginning of August, because it was my first weekend back.
I'm beginning of August.
Mom's was the first weekend of college.
You're right.
I know.
Ryan or Brett was beginning of July. Yes. Mom was end of August. Yes. I'm in the middle there.
Anyways, back to the trilogies.
And so Ryan got to make a great joke about like my entire family got married this summer, so I'm single. So
ladies,
every wedding he's progressively more hammered. Right. He's like giving his third speech. He's like, "How many of these do I have to do?"
I was 18, so I wasn't that hammered. So then that brings in the third trilogy of
the stepsisters.
3 stepsisters.
Yeah, very cool. Do you guys do like a huge Christmas every year, or like a big gathering?
Every other year.
Yes and no. So the younger 3,
they stay in their realm.
Yeah, they stay in the prequel area. But every other Thanksgiving, we get together with all 3 stepsisters.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It's crazy.
And do a whole Brady Bunch thing. And I think they do it every other year because our parents need a break in between. Because that's a lot of kids and grandkids.
All of us have at least one kid.
Yeah.
Well, then you guys got to just make like custom shirts for Christmas. That'll be.
We do.
Oh, that's going to say. Get some matching shirts for the pajamas. I love it. Okay, we'll give you guys a break. We're going to jump in the lightning round here.
Okay. Record that. That's a better for the button.
I do voiceover work if you need.
We got a booth if you want something. We've had children's books voiced over in here before. Nice. Was it Harvard Business Review has rented this out before to interview like a subject matter expert from Boston.
Wow. You could be doing your romantasy novel reading and be like, by the way, I'm actually 6'5".
I'm 6'5" and I live in Iowa.
That's all that it takes.
I'm taller than the corn stalks.
Awesome. Okay. We mentioned, I wish I would have known beforehand. I mentioned this earlier. If I knew you guys were both in your respective nerd worlds, I would have had these questions completely different. So we'll add a couple in here, but
big nerds.
We will start with a interesting question. You guys both live in Polk City?
Ankeny.
Neither of us live in Polk City, actually.
Well, this will be a good question. What's the population of Polk City?
23,000.
23,000?
Okay.
No, it's less than that.
What's your guess?
At least 7.
7,000?
No, 7 people. Probably, I would guess 13,000.
You guys are both wrong.
Yes.
6,303.
Hey, we were way off.
We were way off.
In my defense, it was lightning round, and I didn't have time to think.
You were just...
I heard lightning round.
You went 23,000.
That's probably Ankeny then.
Ankeny's 75,000.
Yeah, Ankeny's a lot.
Why do you just know these population numbers?
He's a guy with a podcast. He has to know this data.
No, I shoot the Ankeny Economic Development Corporation is one of my clients, and we do a year review every year. So I know like to the number of how many people move there. So that's I'm like. I would say I have like a liberal arts degree in literally everything because of all the people I interview and videos I shoot. I'm like, I never knew that, or I learned this about this.
Now you could probably learn all about screen printing, and you could just come work for us.
Sure. Yeah, you start picking stuff up. So
what's the population of Grimes?
Of Grimes? Yeah. Oof.
Lightning round. Come on.
Oof. That'd be a complete guess. I'd probably say 15,000.
Oh, at least.
Yeah,
20,000.
They're not as big as Ankeny, but they're growing.
The problem with Grimes, Urbandale, Clive, and Dallas Center that it's all like
smushed together. Yeah,
like I was shooting a video at a guy's house. His address is Urbandale, but his house is across the street from Dallas Center Grimes, and I'm like, neither of those places are Urbandale. Like, such a weird world. Okay,
lightning round.
Next question. The skill that each of you had to work on or develop the most since starting in the business.
Communication.
I was waiting for you to say that.
Yeah, communication for me. I don't know. I have ADHD, so it's like it's hard for me to say something and then you not understand exactly what I said without further explanation. But I'm working on it.
Nice.
I think the skill that I had to develop most while our mom worked there was
not punching her in the face,
holding my tongue. Like when that dynamic didn't work as well as this dynamic works. So probably not arguing sometimes.
Love you, Mom.
Yeah, we love you. Yeah, that's got to be the one. I was like production stuff, but I already knew the production stuff.
Production's easy.
Yeah.
You guys grew up in the back working on screen printing, so that makes a lot of sense. We're going to start hitting you with the random ones here. How many gallons of gas does an airliner hold? Like a commercial airliner?
At least 7.
That's the number.
734.
734 gallons of gas. That's his guess. What is your guess?
500. I should have done 733 just to like Price is Right you.
The answer, 57,000 gallons of gas.
We were pretty close.
We just needed to add a couple zeros.
You didn't tell me what kind of airplane.
Like a 737. Yeah, like a commercial airliner.
DC-10.
The smallest one, little single propeller ones, the ones that I would have to have a parachute and adult underwear to fly in, those only hold 6,000 gallons.
See, he should have been like, what's your favorite Harry Potter character? Like I could nail some of those.
We're getting there.
We're getting there. Okay.
We had a gal that runs a Disney, like a t-shirt Disney, or I should say fantasy character t-shirt company.
Okay.
And she goes to Disney every month. So
every month?
We did, her lightning round was all Disney and she got every single one right. But I was like, who wrote the soundtrack for Tarzan? And she's like, Phil Collins. And I just like stared at her for a while and she's like, is it not Phil Collins? I'm like, it's Phil Collins. Yeah, you're right.
No matter what.
Arguably the best soundtrack of any movie ever.
There's no argument at P&M. They play that every Friday.
Oh,
we have Disney Fridays.
Disney
I might
Song
have to just
Fridays.
come in on Friday and sit in the lobby and listen like, son of a man of two.
Yeah, and every Friday,
Thursday is Throwback Thursday.
somebody says, "Oh, Tarzan, Phil Collins."
Phil,
like,
if you're watching.
They're like, Phil, we just need a nice level-headed Disney soundtrack. Good for the kids. And he's like, hold my beer.
Right?
Man, like, okay, chill out, Phil.
But arguably, Lin-Manuel Miranda also
With Moana.
crushes.
Yeah,
Saying.
Moana 2, saw it in theater with my son.
But
was good.
that wasn't Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Lynn, if you're watching.
Who does your stuff?
You guys need some shirts? Like, you need a stocking cap. That's what you need. Okay. Any you guys watch like sitcoms, 90s sitcoms? Are you guys into that stuff? Not really?
Not 90s.
We try.
I watch a lot of Brooklyn Nine-Nine as like my comfort show.
Okay.
The Office is my
The
comfort
Office
show.
is your
A
comfort
lot of people
show.
are into The Office and Friends. I've never got into either of them, but I know enough to be dangerous.
We've started watching Young Sheldon because my son is Young Sheldon.
Oh, nice.
So
It's like, look, Mom, it's me on TV.
yeah, basically.
Can you name the 6 friends?
Monica, Chandler, Ross, Rachel, Phoebe.
And the other one.
Ross, Rachel, Chandler, Monica, Phoebe, and
Missing one guy.
Chandler. Did I say Chandler?
You said Chandler already.
Chandler, Ross, Joey.
Joey, you got them all?
Is that because your wife knows friends? See,
Yes.
you found a friend. Give me some mechanic questions, and I got this.
Give me some mechanic questions. Shout out Tiernan's Auto Service. Right here in Granger,
Right here
Iowa.
in Granger, Iowa.
Love it. What kind of music do you guys listen to?
Bluey.
Bluey? Lots of Bluey? Tarzan soundtrack.
Tarzan soundtrack is just on repeat.
Listening to a lot of Wicked, thanks to my daughter. A lot of
I never grew out of my emo phase, so a lot of screamo emo music.
yeah,
Nice.
you know,
Well, yeah, we're doing Slipknot earlier.
21 Pilots.
21
Yep.
Pilots. Emery is my favorite band of all time.
Nice.
Shout out Emery.
I'm a big pop punk fan. Like, I like State
There you go.
Champs and some Magnolia Park and some of the other ones that have been coming out lately. So
See, I know all of that stuff because I used to be able to listen to my own music, and now my choices are trashy 90s country that my husband not the stuff that people know, like Shania, but weird stuff. And I'm either listening to that or something that my kids want to listen to. So if I'm listening on my own, it's usually an audiobook. It's not music.
nice. My wife is a huge Swiftie, and she has been for years,
Yeah.
not just because of the massive rise in her popularity lately, but it's like,
Oh, I
if
thought
we're-
you were going to say she's a big Travis Kelce fan. And that's,
And that's why she became
that's how she
now like she never wanted to watch football. Like the last 2 years, she's been like, okay, it's 4th and 6. They're gonna go for it or what? I'm like, who are you? I'm like, I didn't give a shit about football before. Like, this is kind of wild.
Thanks, Taylor. If you're watching, who does your stuff?
Okay, yeah. Who needs some shirts, right? We talk about Star Wars. Can you guys name how many Star Wars movies can you name?
Oh, Ryan. So Ryan,
Not just the original 9, but like there's
Solo?
the whole new. There's a whole bunch
he
of
can
other
name
ones.
all the
Rogue
series
One?
and all of the other things too. Like Ryan does what's called trooping, where he like dresses up in like screen ready costume and goes to the zoo or to various different events.
That wouldn't be like cosplay. It's trooping. There's a different term for that.
is
we call
cosplay.
it's cosplay.
Okay.
But the organization is called the 501st Legion. It's a nonprofit that we have an agreement with Lucasfilm that we can basically wear his stuff.
Right.
So I have several costumes that
He's
I have.
one of the only people tall enough to be Darth Vader, and he still has to wear high heels.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's not what they're
You ever
called,
been
but-
Chewie? Because Chewie was really tall too.
No. Chewie is the thing about Chewie is any of the Wookiee characters, you have to maintain their hair, and I don't know if you can tell, I'm not great at maintaining hair, but thank you. But no, I have a scout trooper, a bridge officer, a TIE pilot, a TIE reserve pilot, and Darth Vader.
And they're sending you like actual like screen ready costumes.
No, we have to make.
Or you make
Yeah,
them
they make
manually? Okay. That's really cool. What's the longest time you've had to put together a costume? Like I've seen some of the Mandalorian ones that people have done where it's like that probably took you like a year to make it.
So I don't actually make my costumes.
You procure them.
I procure them.
That's fair.
I don't.
You get your mom to sometimes help with the sewing.
For some people, that's what is fun for them, is building the costumes. For me, it's like wearing them and interacting with the public. So I don't build them.
Okay. Sure. But you didn't actually answer all of the different.
Yeah. What are all the Star Wars movies by title?
Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith. And then you go into Rogue One. You have Solo in there. Then you have New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Revenge of the Jedi. Are we talking shows?
Pedro Pascal. That's all I need.
You can do shows too if there's series on Disney Plus or whatever.
The Mandalorian, Skeleton Crew, Ahsoka. What was the one that everybody hated that I really enjoyed? Oh, you might have got me on that one.
Is the Skeleton Crew the one with the kids?
Yeah.
That one just came out.
Yeah.
I've been trying to watch it with my son. His favorite character is the Sniffer.
Is that the elephant looking one?
Who is the tracking character that has like aviator goggles on his head and goes that's like he's like the small, like maybe 2% of the show, and he's like,
that's the one.
Where's the Sniffer? And I'm like, okay, this isn't like
I haven't watched it.
I've only watched like 1 or 2 episodes trying to get my
Acolyte. That's the one I was thinking of.
Acolyte, yep.
That you liked it and nobody else did it.
So this character is from Acolyte, and it's like a oversized gopher with aviator goggles. It's like a bloodhound. Basically, they use him to track people.
Got it.
So they call him Sniffer. I think he's a tracker. It's not even his real name. He's like, Dad, where's the Sniffer? Like, it's not even his name. Like, gosh. I think you got most of them. That's pretty good. Oh, the last trilogy.
The last trilogy. I know there's Rise of Skywalker. Oh gosh.
I'm telling all your Star Wars friends.
I don't like the last trilogy.
But you don't even know what the names are?
Rise of Skywalker, Force Awakens, The Last Jedi.
See, he knows it.
I'm telling them.
That's good.
You're going to lose your
There's a kids show, Jedi Tales is on Disney Plus.
Oh, yep. And then like the Attack of the Clones, like animated series.
Clone Wars animated series. There's technically 2 Clone Wars animated series.
Okay.
There's the one that was made by the guy who did Samurai Jack. And then there was like the really long one.
Sure. Well, I know you said you're not a big reader, or you said you can't read. So
no, my wife can't read.
Oh, she can't read. Okay, but you can read.
That's because she reads Coho.
But if you get a chance, George Lucas has a biography. It's super insightful. And then it's like hearing him when he sold to Disney for like $1 billion, and then they made $1 billion in revenue the next year after. And I'm like, that wasn't even a good deal. I'm like, you could have made like $10 billion. I'm like, this is insane. Like,
I swear some people are just functioning with like monopoly money. Like when people are like, oh, you guys.
Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, you guys own a business. You probably have like yachts and stuff. And we're like just trying to put food on people's tables. And meanwhile, it's like billions. And
you're like, I can't get a yacht, but I got Yahtzee. That's in my drawer.
I got a new Yahtzee. That's the big perk for the year.
Sure. Well, and then you find out some of these like billionaires, they don't even like take a salary. They just like take credit against their
live on their revenue, basically. Yeah.
Or they go and get like a credit card that's like 0% or whatever, and then they just pay that down, and then they don't actually have earned income, and they don't pay taxes or anything. So
I'm just saying, none of them turned into Batman, and it ticks me off.
We can get really radical if you need to.
Sure. We can start pulling out picket signs and start hitting some other sound effects that we got on the board here. Okay, well, that's the end of the lightning round. You guys did a good job.
Back to the serious stuff.
You guys did a really good job. We mentioned this earlier, like kind of competing with online shops. Like, how do you guys see where you fit in that ecosystem? And do you absolutely hate them? Is there like a dartboard in your guys' back room with custom ink in the middle, and you guys take? No. Or what's kind of the approach to the larger online shops and how you guys compete with them?
Those the people who are like, oh yeah, I love custom ink. Those aren't our clients.
No,
I mean those aren't the people we want to be working with. They don't want to be working with us, and that's fine.
They want to be able to sit there and click their own art, pick their own stuff, upload it, whatever. And we want to be working with the people that want an experience. They want they want customer service. They want real people to talk to. They want to be able to handpick all of their stuff and work through all of that.
I mean, and like I said at the top of you asked me for my elevator pitch, and it's like, we are actually not selling you a shirt. We already know you want a shirt when you come in. That's why you're coming in.
Yeah.
What we want is to sell your story and to sell the experience of what we do. And so it's more about not necessarily, like Megan said, it's more than just a shirt. But at the end of the day, yeah, it is just a shirt with kind of a juxtaposition.
Like we don't take it so serious. We're not doing brain surgery over here.
Yeah, but we want you to have
rocket surgery,
the best experience possible through customer service, and people who go to custom ink don't necessarily value that as much as having a cheap shirt.
Sure. Well, and I don't know how Custom Ink's set up, but I'm assuming it's like overseas production, or they have like
they contract out to local shops.
Oh, so you guys can sign up and be like, joke's on you. They're like, we love Custom Ink. Like, joke's on you. We actually make it for them, sucker.
We don't. We don't do that.
We don't know. Yeah. But I just toured a shop in, where were we?
Ohio.
It was Ohio, in Cleveland, Ohio. That does a lot of custom ink work, does a lot of those other shops like that.
Like the more print-on-demand type models. Yeah.
They're thriving, and it's good. It's good for them, and they're cool people, but it's just not our gig.
Yeah, and I know last week I had I call it Whiskey with Ryan. Once a week I have a bourbon bar out there.
You could be part of that.
If you want to come, just
Whiskey with Ryan.
Bring some food so you don't crash into the thing. We should have food with it too. But I was talking with a guy that his agency does web design work, and they're on a directory for Webflow. Mm-hmm. And like 80% of their business comes from just people on Webflow. They're like, hey, can I work with an expert to build my site? Yeah. And I think that's a really cool angle that people, like, if you're really struggling, your sales team's not doing well, like you could just plug in with that. But I'm always so fearful of people that their whole business is on a directory because, like,
what happens if that bottoms out?
Yeah. Custom Ink's like, just kidding, we're going to take it all overseas. Like, you're out. And you're like, oh, like, how am I going to pay my 16 people to work? Like, I don't know what to do.
And the profit margins on those, it's so slim that, like, you have to be doing so much of that contract work to even make up for like one of the bulk jobs that we do. And plus, we would rather work with cool people than have 10,000 shirts on the press.
Yeah, sure. In terms of like where the industry is going, you guys mentioned you were really kind of excited about that stuff of trying to get plugged in and then go to the events and do that stuff. Where is the industry going, and where do you guys want to be in that world of the expansion, the growth, the improvements in kind of the whole screen printing business?
So I feel like our industry is doing a pretty decent job with like as far as, you know, maker type industries with keeping up with technology, keeping up with automations. I think there's a lot more AI talk in our industry than probably some that people have no idea what AI even is. And so we're seeing a lot of, closing the gap on those timelines. So there's a lot more print on demand models happening. There's some people that their whole business is run on doing print on demand. There's a lot of technologies coming out that are making it so it's not just screen printing. They have a product called direct to film. Go ahead.
It's called DTF.
Everyone calls it DTF, and we're like, you couldn't think of anything else to call it because, you know, try Googling DTF. Don't do it.
Yeah, my wife is looking at starting the business in Ankeny, and the abbreviation was ASS. I'm like, maybe like change it to something else.
That's like the lead singer of Jimmy Eat World was like, make sure you abbreviate your name before you go live with it.
Because if you ever want to trim it down. Yeah. So, so I think they're doing really good with technology. There's a lot of resources for communicating with other shops, getting plugged into a lot of like learning and everything. And I think you can tell the difference between the people that are attending those things and learning versus the people that are just staying in one place.
And I would say one thing Megan specifically is doing in the industry is pushing for diversity and women in the screen printing industry. The ladies. Compared to other like creative types, like if you like pottery or anything like that, it's mostly women dominated. The screen printing industry is not. It is a bunch of old white guys that think they know how to do everything, or had a band
and decided to make their own merch, basically.
And so
they all have heart pressure or blood pressure issues, and they eat too much red meat.
So Megan's really pushing for, you know, just a voice in the industry, and we were on a podcast, another podcast, not this one.
Don't worry, we love you more.
Where she said,
"No pain taken. It's fine."
She said, "If you don't make room for us at the table, we're going to make our own table."
Yeah,
and I was like, "Dang."
It's true, because there are groups right now that are coming up that are just specifically towards women, and women being able to help each other out, you know, on social media platforms or whatever, where they don't have to have a man coming in and like mansplaining it to them.
Actually.
Yeah, or talking down to them in any way. And it's just like really encouraging. And uplifting being around all of these women that want to just share their knowledge and not gatekeep anything or try to act like they're the biggest head honcho in the room or something like that. So that's really important to me. Being able, there's still, a lot of like boys club type issues where they're like, well, there's just not very many women in the industry. And I'm like, how many phone numbers would you like me to give you of like 500 women that are owning shops or managing shops that
even our shop, we have 16 employees, 4 of them are men.
Yeah. Ryan and one other guy are token cishet white men.
That's true.
So yeah, we love supporting that and we love practicing it in our own shops.
Very cool. Yeah, and it's interesting too. Like as you guys have grown your shop, I'd be curious to see if there was like other people out there that would want to join like a community of some kind, like if you guys had a membership group or a retreat once a year or something where you guys could just like you said, you keep going to these panels and like the information's not good. And you're like, God, this could be done better. Like we need to find like actual people that are like on the cutting edge of some of these technologies or the practices.
And we kind of have, so last year we actually hosted our own convention.
Yeah.
It was called Flyover Con. And it was specific to decorators in the Midwest. And we're like, we don't have to compete with each other. We can just like share knowledge and all raise the tide all together. Yeah. And then this year, our friends out in South Carolina are hosting something similar, and it's
for their area.
Yeah, and so it's like, these big conventions are great, but you have the same talking heads saying the same words, and so it's like, great, let's go to more small regional things where these voices that don't necessarily get that platform have a platform.
Sure. It's super fulfilling though too, because I run a Facebook group. I have online courses, and I started a mastermind last year for video business people, and I always find it super interesting because like you can like fast track your improvement so much quicker when you're in the right room with the right people.
Absolutely.
Of like, oh man, I'm growing to 16 people. I have 10 now. I'm going to hire 6 new people. Like, you guys are doing that. What should I know? And then you're like taking notes, like, oh God. And then like, what are you guys doing? Oh, well, this person's really good with their online orders, or like 70% of their business. Like, well, what are you guys doing that, you can just put your thoughts in a pot and stir it around, and everybody starts learning things that they don't know. So,
and that's a big part of like Megan brought up travel, and our mom being like, oh, you just want to travel to travel. Well, no, when we go to these, we actually learn more from like the after hours where we're just networking and connecting with people than we do.
Asking like, what problems are you having and how are you solving them? Yeah, there was one that we went to in Nashville that was exactly like you were describing, where it's like a lot of people I talked to were like right at the next level that is where we're heading. It's like if you're at 3 million, you want to get to 5 million or whatever. I can't really understand the people that are making 20 million a year or anything like that. But if I can talk to the people that are just at the next level to help me get to the next level, then they probably have similar problems, and they probably are working through, certain growing pains that we're just approaching or we already have approached or something like that. And we can help down the line.
Kind of help forecast where our business is going.
Yeah.
And it's part of that, like, you never want to be the smartest person in the room.
Yeah.
Yep. I hate that feeling too. It happens to me more than I'd like to admit. I'm like, God, I don't like being the smartest person in this room. I'd rather like go somewhere where there's people that are further along, or they're like way more successful than me, because I'm like the weirdo that when I'm in a room with a bunch of people that are like super successful, I'm not like intimidated. I'm like, this is cool. Like, how'd you get where you are? Like, what was like, because I'm just a naturally curious person. So it's like so many people get in like, oh, I'd rather be, big fish in a small pond. It's like such a lame way to live. Like you become the people you hang out with.
And then you're plateaued for the rest. You're just, I'm the best.
This conference that we went to, we asked so many questions, and we're constantly prodding that they actually made me a board member and a speaker for this year. So
sure.
I'm like, all right.
And you keep asking them the question, they're like, okay, maybe we should get someone else up there next year.
Yeah.
That's really cool. What's your guys? I mean, we're talking about where the industry is going. Like, what's your guys' vision for the future? Where do you guys want to see P&M go in the next 5-10 years?
Ice cream,
space.
Ask Elon. Maybe he'll come and drop a rocket off into your backyard and put it on the bottom of your building.
Next 5 years or so, kind of just max out the space that we currently have. I don't know if we have any real plans for expansion. We are looking at some new equipment. That's kind of on the hush hush.
But being able to like
jetpacks. We need something from the top shelf.
But like being able to even just make sure our debt to income ratio is really good. That's important.
Paying down loans.
And trying to find clients that are just like cool people that we want to work with, you know, like really enjoying every single client that we work with, I think is probably a big one.
Do you guys see yourselves becoming more like a ray gun type of brand where like you guys do your own screen printing, or is it always just for clients?
Yeah, I think we like doing other people's stuff and helping promoting other people rather than putting our own stuff out there. Plus, like Reagan's already doing it. So
sure.
And I think there's a lot more uncertainty with like a retail brand like that than there is with what we're doing. We know we have a customer.
Right.
You don't know if that shirt's going to sell or not.
Yeah.
Sure. And I'm just always curious because I know like sometimes people would want to play in that space and just like start a different brand or a small shop and just test it, see if it works or whatever. So that's really cool.
That's a no for us.
It's a no for me, dog.
Well, but like Reagan has done such a good job of like getting in the community and being such a public face, and they've done it for years. Like when they were Smash, they were doing that too.
I forgot they used to Smash.
And so like they've already built a whole identity around it too, and people don't realize when you're making a clothing line that you can't just like if you build it, people will come. Like you have to make the whole identity too, and that's why Reagan is successful, like because they have funny shirts, but also they are reaching a much broader audience because they've worked so hard in the public sphere.
It's like your business has to have a personality and a voice of its own. It can't just be like, oh, that's Ryan from P&M Apparel. No, it's like when we're posting on social media, we have a very specific way that we interact with people, that we post our stuff. And it's like that you have to build that identity before you can really expand out.
Yeah.
Reagan's done a great job of it.
Sure. I'm always impressed by how fast their turnout is. Like if something's culturally relevant, they'll have a shirt in like 24 hours. I'm how do they do that? Like, it's just kind of crazy how quick that is.
I mean, it's easy when your shirt's just a font, but
you're
not to downplay Reagan or anything. But
and then they have the shirts probably already in stock sitting there. So I think they usually keep all of their screens and stuff. So I think you could turn it around pretty easily if you have a winner, you know?
Sure.
So
no, I love it. As we're kind of concluding here, any final advice for other screen printers or people listening in that are wanting to do something similar that maybe they don't have the industry knowledge or they didn't grow up in the back of a screen printing thing? What advice would you give to somebody who's wanting to kind of get into this business and do something in this area as well? Maybe they're not in the Des Moines area, they're from somewhere else.
I don't think it's specific to just our industry. I think with any industry, talk to people in your industry. I mean,
learn as much as you possibly can.
Yeah, like Megan said, other people are having the same problems that you're having and have been where you are. So ask. And if somebody says no, then why don't we go ask somebody else?
I think there's a lot of people in our industry, and this is probably not unique to our industry, that like just go, oh, I could make a t-shirt. And so they, buy a...
Christy. That's how she started.
They just like buy some like $80 kit or something and decide to start selling shirts. And sometimes that works, but like those people have a lot more drive. Christy. And this is a friend of ours that probably will listen to this podcast. But a lot of people do it and then they don't have the drive. They don't know like what to do after they've bought their little $80 kit or something. And so then it just sits there and nothing happens with it. Like to presume that you can go into an industry and just start at the same place. I mean, this is the same, I'm sure, for videography, because I know I see it in photography and even parenting, to just like assume that you know what you're doing without like any floor knowledge or any educational background at all in the industry. It's like, no, go study, go learn, go decide if this is actually a thing you want to like invest in and put your life into before you start investing your money, and get a bunch of that knowledge before you just jump right in.
I think it's like famous last words is, how hard can it be?
Yeah.
It's hard.
Because you get all those people that are like, oh, I bought a Cricut and so now I have a t-shirt company. And it's like, it's not that easy. So.
Sure. No, I think it's great advice. And I always tell people too, like my path was like, I worked for a production company for 5 years, learned everything about the industry, and then started my own thing. And I always tell people, like, if I could do it again, I'd do it exactly the same way, because so many people right out of college that just try to start, or they're like, oh, I saw someone on TikTok that had the printer machine spitting out all the orders, and I just think it's going to print money, and how cool is this? And then they get into it and like, oh crap, I don't know how to market. I don't have, like you said, I don't have a set customer base. I don't know who my customer is or what I'm trying to sell. And then you're on Etsy, like just trying to hope that someone will find your stuff or whatever. So I think it's an interesting place where things are going. But like you said, it's the shifting away from the boys club to this kind of new age thing. And I think there's a lot of things you can learn from that to apply to like any other industry as well. Sure. So I'm trying not to sneeze. I might do it. Okay. Where can people find more about you guys and maybe order some shirts, as we've been alluding to?
Who does your stuff?
Who does your stuff?
So we're on all the socials, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok as @P_M Apparel. You can come to our shop at 11.
You didn't even talk about cannoning.
I didn't. That's
you maybe
next podcast.
Is that like a Nick Cannon dance or something?
No. We bought a t-shirt cannon a few years ago because we were going to use it for like parades or to rent out. And we've rented it out a couple times. But mostly it has turned into Ryan's got his own little like persona of like he just cannons random stuff.
So we have so
that you don't have to.
Hot dogs.
We have cannoned a hot dog. It's a social media segment called Will It Cannon, and we just find random stuff around the shop, put it in the t-shirt cannon, and see if it'll go. And then I either give a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and it's all very like
tomatoes. And then he will go around and start cannoning like client stuff, like go to where they are and cannon their stuff.
You said cannon tomatoes. I thought he was canning tomatoes. So I just saw him like with a bunch of old women and like with jars, just like
Janice.
No, he took some
canned tomatoes.
Cannons. He took some tomatoes out of my garden and just shoved them in the cannon and said, "Let's try."
Yeah, it's fun.
That's awesome.
It's great.
So that's but that's when we're talking about business. Like you have to have fun doing business. Otherwise, what's the point? Like, you can go to work and work for somebody else and just push the button, and it's I don't know. I want to have fun at work.
Yeah. Me too.
And so that's, culture. And I forgot what the question was, but.
The question was where they could find you. And so I was talking specifically of your social media segment.
P&M Apparel, pmapparel.com, 1100 South 5th Street in Polk City. Currently
is our headquarters.
This is our headquarters. Currently we're in this booth in Granger, 2202 Broadway.
Right. Now people can come get me. No.
Sorry.
Let's edit that part out.
We'll put your information in the details below for sure, and appreciate you guys coming on the pod.
Absolutely.
If you guys made it this far in the show, you know what to do. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're on YouTube, Spotify, subscribe if you're on iTunes, and check out all their stuff on social media. Give them a follow as well. My name is Ryan Snaadt. It rhymes a lot, and we'll see you in the next episode. Peace. Thank you so much for watching yet another episode of the Rhymes with the Odd podcast. We really do appreciate your support. If you could give us a 5-star review on Apple iTunes, that makes a world of difference, guys. Also, if you're tuning in on YouTube or Spotify, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss another episode, and check us out on social media. Also, if you'd like to inquire more about our services here at Snaadt Media Group or learn about doing your own podcast for your own business, you can find us at snaadmedia.com. We'll see you in the next episode. Peace.